Hi, this is Big Jim on Lucille Marie from my week back on vacation. Isn't working on the boat a vacation? Anyways, so I've been catching up with a few things here in the boat. Installation of the fore cabin. I got the starboard side mostly done. The As I mentioned earlier, the furring strips are very well adhered to the hull. I didn't have any that are loose, as I did with the West Systems epoxy. So I don't know if that means it's better or if it's just I was lucky. Anyways, I've got the heaters on in the boat, so I'm bringing the temperature back up to at least 50 degrees or warmer. It feels much warmer than that in here. And I've been chopping off the bolt heads or the bolt bodies that come through the deck that hold the tow rail down, and probably join the two hulls together, or the top of the boat and the bottom of the hull and the deck together. And so I want to get all of those removed so that way they're not in the way when we start putting the wood trim in and finishing up the insulation. Now I've had this rubber material, but I didn't buy enough of it to finish the entire job. So what's going to happen is I'm going to switch over eventually to these exercise mats. These are very inexpensive and basically the same material. They're very stiff rubber, and they're a little bit thicker too, so they're going to add a little bit more insulation. So this is probably 3/8 to a quarter inch. It's probably more than a quarter inch. It's about a quarter inch or so. So that means, and these are mostly almost a half inch. I think they might be a half inch. Let's see what it says. Doesn't say. Of course not. It doesn't say. But I believe they're half inch. And I don't have a packing slip, so I can't see what I ordered. But they're definitely thicker. They're also the same thickness as the furring strips, so that means while the rubber here is slightly under the furring strip, so there'll be a gap between the wood and the furring strip, the gap between the insulation and the wood, which is not always a good thing because obviously any kind of air like that back there can trap moisture. The thicker ones will actually be the same thickness, and the wood will either be just barely, or the slats will be barely touching the exercise mats, or actually be resting against them, and then create some compression there. So there'll be no gap or air gap between the slats and the exercise mats. So that's what the plan is. As usual, I spend half my time going back and forth to Home Depot or other box stores to get supplies. And I just ran out of cut-off discs for my Ryobi. My Ryobi is also acting up. It gets really hot now. It's about good 15 years old, so it's probably time to replace it. I might just go ahead and do that, depending on how much they are at the store, and then get some more cut-off discs. I also left my tape measure down in the car. I have an extra one on the boat, but the last time I used it, I tossed it into the hatch, and now I can't find it. So it'll probably show up the day I finish all my projects and I don't need it any longer, and that's usually when it shows up. So I will be back in a few minutes after going to the store and getting my tape measure and letting the boat warm up some more. And then I've also got to take the last of the old sealant off the main cabin hatch above the vent hatch, because I'm putting in the new sealant. I got some Dow 795, which is interesting because the Sikaflex 795 is supposedly for the same treatment. So I'm wondering if the number has something to do with what its use is, because both 795 Dow and 795 Sikaflex are both designed for silicon or sealing polycarbonate hatches or glass, and not very much sticks to polycarbonate. So I'm hoping that the Dow, which is recommended for that, will do the job, because I tried using Flex Seal because it was they tout its benefits everywhere, and it worked. It's working on the fore hatch. So this hatch right here is using Flex Seal. Has never leaked since I put the gasket in, but for some reason that one had some kind of a small defect, and it started leaking again after about 6 months to a year. The other thing is I don't know if Flex Seal is UV safe, and that may be another reason why it failed. The Dow is designed to be UV resistant, and the Sikaflex UV 795 UV. Now there may be a 795 that's not UV, but it does say UV on the actual label. I just can't find the tube that I bought, so I don't know where it is, and I'm sure that will also turn up as soon as I'm finished with sealing that hatch. So there's several options there. As I mentioned in a previous video, silicone is usually avoided and has a really bad reputation on fiberglass sailboats because it has some really bad properties, and it doesn't often give you a good seal for what you want to do. The boat's flexing, so the silicone has to actually adhere to both the plate or surface that it's sealing as well as the boat itself. And since the boat is flexing all the time, that may be the reason why it fails. It also dries out and gets brittle. You've probably seen many times on a boat where you put some silicone sealant in, and you can just go over and peel it off with your fingers, and that's always a bad sign if you can peel it off with your fingers. The butyl tape is a sealant that's great, but it has no adhesion properties. So that means you have to actually have some kind of way of bonding the two elements together before sealing it. So butyl will seal for leaks, but it won't bond. And silicone sometimes, in many cases, will bond, but it won't seal. So figure that out. Anyways, the boat is almost entirely dry now. I rarely see a leak in the boat unless it's raining really, really hard. There is a small leak somewhere over here in this corner, probably one of the chain plates right here. I have to go back up and probably seal all those plates again. I finally went through and drilled out all the old screw holes, filled them with thickened epoxy, and then drilled them again for the new screws. Put in brand new butyl tape underneath the plates, and that basically solved most of the leaks. I think there's still one plate up here on the starboard side that needs to be done, but this leak is on the port side, so I believe I did all those last year, and that stopped all the leaks. But again, there could be a leak somewhere else that I don't know about. So I'm going to have to track that down eventually, and hopefully I can find it. Because once I put all the insulation in, it's going to be really hard to find leaks, because right now I can see the fiberglass and the deck joint and everything else in the deck itself, and there are no leaks here. So that means it's somewhere behind this bulkhead inside this cabinet, or on the chain plate, which is probably on that bulkhead. So that's the goal, is to try to figure out where that leak's coming from. It's a very, very small leak, but any kind of leak is always a bad leak, because it just keeps doing it, and you don't want a boat leaking, especially from the top. Bottom leaks are even worse, because those usually can sink the boat. But the top leaks are the ones that annoy you when you're staying on the boat. The ones in the bilge you don't know about until the water's around your ankles. So hopefully that is a good sign that the bottom leaks have never introduced in the boat. Boy, getting a boat to liveaboard standards is really hard. So follow the progress, and hopefully you enjoy the videos. Thank you.